Hello, in this video we are going to recap everything absolute value. Alright, so let's talk about that parent function real quick to make sure we have a good understanding. So the equation is going to be f of x is equal to the absolute value bars with an x inside. And remember, anything that goes in it must come out positive, whether it's a positive number or a negative number. In our domain, when we talk about our domain, we talk about how far left and how far right it goes. So how far left are we going? Well, we got arrows, and how far right? We got arrows. So it is all real numbers. Your range is how low it goes to how far up. And because there's arrows going up, we know it is going to go up forever to infinity. But the lowest it's going to go on our y-axis is right here at the origin, which is 0. So as long as our y values are bigger than or equal to 0, we're good. Your vertex is where it changes direction. So here we're going down, and then we go up. So at the origin, 0, 0 is our vertex. Our axis of symmetry is where we could split this graph in half. So in that case, it is x equals 0. All right, for transformations of this one, let's start with what's going on out front. That is our a value. So our a value is positive, so it's not going to have any reflection, but it is going to mess with the vertical. Because it's a fraction, it's going to be a compression by a factor of 1/2. Next up, we have a positive 3, so we know that's going to go to the left and right. Because it is positive, we're going to go to the left 3. And the last one, that plus 2, is going to go up 2. Okay, so our vertex is our C and D. In this case, a -3, because I went 3 units left, and a positive 2. So let's go ahead and plot that point. Now that we have the vertex plotted, we can use our 1/2 to guide us in graphing. So just like slope, we're going to go up 1 box and to the right 2. And I can repeat that process, up 1, right 2, until I run out of room. I'm going to stop there with 3 points. Because I have an axis of symmetry of where I can cut my graph in half at the vertex, it's going to be right here, which is x equals -3. So I can use this axis of symmetry as a mirror. I know I went 2 spaces to the right from my axis of symmetry here, so I need to go 2 to the left. I went 4 spaces out, so I should go 1, 2, 3, 4 to get that next point. So the axis of symmetry is super helpful for us to create this graph. So how many times does it cross the x-axis? Well, it is never going to touch, so it is 0, no x-intercepts. And if we look at this, it faces up because our a is positive, and because it is facing up, we have a minimum. Because this function, this equation, has arrows at both ends, we still have -infinity to infinity, all real numbers, for our domain. But our range now, we can incorporate the 2 because it was shifted up twice. So we know our y values have to be bigger than or equal to. Alright, for this problem here, we have a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. So that is our a value, and it's a positive because there's no reflection. We are shifting it to the to the right 5. So we know our c value is going to be a -5. And we are shifting it up, which means d is equal to a +3. Let's put all of that together to get our equation. F of x is equal to, we need to incorporate our a, which is 2. Inside our absolute value with our x is going to be the c value. And it's usually minus x minus, and then we put 5 because we are going to the right. And then incorporate the shift up, which is a plus 3. Again, we start with our vertex, which is at positive 5 and positive 3, because we went right and up. So if it helps you, we could put C as a positive 5. But when we put in our equation, it's a negative. And then our slope now is 2. So I'm going to go up 2 boxes into the right 1. And I can draw in my axis of symmetry to help me find the others. Up 2, left 1. And I can repeat this process until I run out of room. We can then go in and connect our dots to show us our graph. We know it has a minimum because our graph is opening up, which tells us our y values have to be bigger than or equal to 3. Our domain, it's got those arrows, so it's going to be y is an element of all real numbers. For the graph on the left, we need to find our vertex first, and our vertex is where it changes directions, which is at 4, 2. Our axis of symmetry is related to the vertex. It is going to be the 4 from there, and we know our equation is always x equals. Now to find our a value, it is opening up, so we know our a is going to be positive. But what we need to find now is our slope. So I need 2 good points to find slope. In this case, it is 2 boxes down and 1 across. And if I go 2 boxes up and 1 across, that means our a is a positive 2. So let's list these transformations. We know we did a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. We then went to the right 4 and up 2. So to put that into our equation, you'll have f of x is equal to the 2, which is our a value, and then inside the absolute value, you will have your x. Because we went to the right, we will put minus 4. Close the absolute value, and I went up, so that's going to be a plus 2. So that's when finding our vertex is super helpful. Again, this is our arrows, so our domain is going to be all real numbers. And your range, how low did it go? It went all the way to 2, but our y values have to be bigger than or equal to. Go ahead and pause the video and try to do the one on the right. Okay, so here's what you should have had. Your vertex is -2, -1. Because our graph is compressed, we know that our a value is going to be a fraction. And because it's opening down, we know it's going to be negative because it's reflecting over the x-axis. It is then shifted to the left and down 1. I put that together to get our equation. Again, our domain is all real numbers, and we have our range. Okay, so for our last problem here, we are going to solve. So I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign, and we are going to isolate this absolute value and everything in it. So I need to get rid of the positive 6, so I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. And I still have that -1/2 absolute value of x plus 4. Over here, I now have a -3. So now I need to get rid of the -1/2. So I'm going to multiply it by a -2/1 so that that cancels out. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So -2/1 is just -2. That is going to leave me with the absolute value of x plus 4, which is what I wanted. 2 negatives give us a positive 6. All right. From here, you have your 2 cases. One where it is just x plus 4 equals 6, and your other where it is x plus 4 equals negative 6. So now we get to solve both sides to see what is x equal to. So again, I draw my line for both of those. I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. And I'm going to do that on the other equation as well. So we have x is equal to a positive 2, and x is equal to a negative 10. So you think we're done, but with absolute value, you have to check for extraneous solutions, meaning whatever we get, we need to plug into x right here. So let me make some space. Once you have the 2 plugged in, you can clean up the absolute value. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Inside that absolute value sign, don't forget that plus 6 after and the equals 3, and that negative 1/2 out front. So now we need to take half of 6, but remember it's negative 1/2 times 6, which is negative 3 plus 6 and equal to 3. So it's negative 3 plus 6 is 3, and that makes it a true statement. 3 is equal to 3, so that is the solution. We're going to repeat that same process with x is equal to negative 10. Alright, so negative 10 plus 4 is a negative 6, but it's the absolute value of that, so that's going to give us a positive 6. And we're going to multiply that by negative 1/2 in a minute. I'm going to bring everything else down first. So half of 6 is 3, but it's a negative 3 plus 6, and making sure that is equal to 3. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3, so 3 is equal to 3, which is a true statement. So both of those are solutions. If you do not get this, that means it is not a true statement, which means it is not a solution. Have a good day.